Hey, welcome to Board Game Today. I'm Brett. On my hands is Unmatched Stars and Stripes. It feels rather appropriate for this Unmatched set to be released during the celebration of the 250th anniversary of America. It features Wyatt, Earp, Rosie the Riveter, John Henry, and George Washington. Now, for those who don't know, Unmatched is a miniature board game that features miniatures where you battle it out with your characters. And what's kind of cool about it is that you can mix and match sets. So, all the core rules are the same. It doesn't really vary at all. But each set has interesting characters that are unique to it that, have different styles of play. And it's everything from what you can see is Stars and Stripes, a little bit of American history, but there's also like Jurassic Park, there is Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, there's characters from Marvel, there's, I think, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Jurassic Park. So yeah, you can have George Washington fighting dinosaurs if you wanted to. So it's a fun game. It basically answers that question of like who would win in a fight. So let's go through the box and show off all the components that we've got here. We've got some the dials to keep track of things. We've got George Washington and John Henry's with looks like markers or stuff like that for each of them. This is intriguing. We got Rosie the Riveter and then Wyatt Earp here. And then these interesting things. So this is new in the tokens before. We haven't really seen stuff like that before. So at least that I can think of. Let's see here. We got a double-sided board. Looks like kind of like an old fort we've got here. And then, oh yeah, we might be battling out in the White House. That's definitely the Oval Office. So if you've ever wanted to have like Deadpool fight George Washington in the Oval Office, this is your chance. Interesting, very interesting stuff. And we also have some intriguing stuff here. There's locks, so this is new. It's not something I think I've ever seen before. With this board, so I'm wondering if it's kind of a little clue action that you can go and exit different parts of the board based off of that. So that's kind of fascinating. All right, let's look at the miniatures themselves. As I said, this is a miniature game in that you have your characters that you play with the miniatures on the board. So this is Wyatt Earp. And it's nice in that they actually add a little bit of shading to the character, so they're not just like flat gray. I'm going with this is George Washington. There's some great detail on these usually, some really cool dynamic poses. Who do we got here? This is Rosie the Riveter that has like a mech suit apparently. There we go. That's the cosplay you need to do. Little Rosie the Riveter action with basically going all alien mech power suit. Something a little bit different. We go from mech suit to just a dude with a big giant hammer and John Henry. Alright, so this is going to be interesting. These decks is what you use to play. We also have some other tokens. For usually there's like compatriots that help you out. You got kind of henchmen in the way, so it's got some nice... Oh, there's 3 for George Washington, apparently. Interesting. And then I'm going with maybe that's Doc Holliday. So let's go through each of the decks and show them off and see... kind of like a quick walkthrough as to what we could expect as far as play style for each of these characters for the game. So, Wyatt Earp, I'm going to guess it's a lot of distance, a lot of, shooting, gunplay, all that. I know there's a whole thing with him being lucky, so the question is, do we get something on that? So on your turn, let's see here. You must take 2 actions. So showdown, after you attack and win combat, choose your 1 effect so you can draw a card, gain a free action, move your fighter up 1 space. Yep, it's Doc Holliday that is with Wyatt Earp. Interesting. Alright, Marshal and Outlaw. If you play this card, defend, draw a card. Your opponent discards a card, so we got 3 of those. Better Swear Me In. There's 3 of those. Cancel all effects on your opponent's cards. Reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. You may put it at the bottom of their deck. thing. Then we got Fan the Hammer. After combat, if opposing fighter was defeated, return this card to your hand. So it's a lot of hand management here. Bringing M to justice, or I should say, really say, like going through cards and drawing stuff like that. So during combat, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. Increase the value of this card by twice that card's boost. Interesting. You're just gonna stand there and bleed. We need smoke that, or draw that smoke wagon, whatever is it. Let's see here. You die first. Move an opposing fighter to one space. Gain a free action. Interesting. Gunfighter, okay, Corral. Deal 1 damage to any fighter. Opponent deals 1 damage to any fighter. Deal 1 damage to any fighter. Your opponent deals 1 damage to any fighter. In Vino Veritas, draw until you have 4 cards in your hand. Alright. You're a Daisy if you do. After combat, draw 2 cards. There's a lot of drawing cards. If I'm your Huckleberry. After combat, if you won the combat, deal 1 damage to an opposing fighter. There's 3 of those. I have 2 guns, 1 for each of you. After combat, if your opponent played a card, deal damage equal to that card's printed value. A different opposing fighter in Doc Holliday zone. And then second shot during combat, you may boost this card. So not quite as much like, there's a lot of stuff, it's funny, it's from Tombstone. There's a lot of references from Tombstone. But not 100 quite like the theme that I would expect. I was going to expect a lot more luck. I don't know how we would do that, but just some. And then there's definitely like a lot of going through cards and gaining cards and adding effects and stuff like that. So I guess that's maybe kind of the reflection of the shooting. Rosie the Riveter, such a, like, I love the back of this card. This card is such a really cool back. All right, we got Freedom XK Tech Mech Suit. Okay, we have rules for her mech suit apparently. It's kind of crazy. Rosie the Riveter has a mech suit. After combat, move Rosie up to 3 spaces. She may move through opposing fighters, then deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter she moved through. Alright. Technology superiority. If you have 3 or more active upgrades, cancel effects on your opponent's cards. Alright. Hasty repairs. If you have any active upgrades, deactivate 1 and recover health. That's kind of cool. Rapid development. Draw 2 cards, activate or deactivate an upgrade, gain 1 free action. Interesting. Shift. During combat, if your fighter started this turn in a different space, this card's value becomes 5. Arc Welding. You can activate an upgrade, deal 1 damage to opposing fighter. Loose Lips Sink Ships. Your opponent reveals the top card of their deck and decrease the value of their card by the reveal card's boost. Interesting. During combat, add value for active upgrades. So it's a lot of upgrades and downgrades and stuff like that. For we can do it, immediately activate an upgrade. Activate or deactivate an upgrade. Move each of your fighters up 3. Okay. After combat, gain 1 free action to attack. Activate all your upgrades if they're already active. Deal 1 damage to opposing fighter. Rosie receives some health. Alright, so it's a lot of with like, these upgrades for the mech suit, which is really interesting. I don't think there's another character that has had something like that. So it feels very unique to her. Like going through, adding cards, flipping stuff around with the deck, like really playing through the deck. That's something we've seen. Okay. Let's go with George Washington. Take that, George Washington. There we go. Undercover agent. We got Washington may swap spaces with adjacent spy. Interesting. Recruiting the ring. Return a defeated spy to a space adjacent to Washington. So it's a lot of playing with his henchmen or spies, whatever you want to call it. After combat, if you won the combat, your opponent discards 2 random cards. Alright. Cancel all effects on your opponent. So it seems a lot of themes with spies on this one. And like... add +1 of this card's value for each other friendly fighter in Washington's zone. So this is a big one using the allies here. Gain 1 free action to attack. Washington gains health. Ignore the value of your opponent's card. If your fighter started this turn in their current space, his card value becomes 5. After combat, move a fighter in the combat up to a few spaces. If you won the combat, you gain a ruse token. If you won the combat, deal 7 to opposing fighter. Draw 3 cards. Move each of your fighters up 3 spaces. They may move through opposing. And then choose an opponent. Look at their hand. If spy is adjacent to one of your fighters, choose a card for them to discard. Gain a ruse token. Interesting. It's a lot to do with the spies here. These go and help you put together the dials for the figures. Alright, John Henry, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of just stuff with the hammer. I know it doesn't sound creative, but it's what I'm expecting. Draw a card, move him up to 1 space, gain free attack. Move him up to 4 spaces, gain an action. Use at least 4 different paths this turn, deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter. Interesting. If he used at least 4 actions this turn, 4 different paths this turn, you may place a fighter in combat in any space with a track token. So a lot of actions with it. If he used at least 4 different paths this turn, cancel all effects of your opponent's card. Alright, so it's a lot with the paths. After combat, move a fighter in combat up to 2 spaces. Do not count spaces for tracks. Alright. A lot of moving around. Add +1 of the card's value for each hammer card in your discard pile. And we got pretty just basic, larger than life. The art on these are great. I'm loving the backs. I'm loving all this. Combat, if John Henry started this turn in a different space, the card value becomes 5. So it seems like a lot of moving around. If you win this combat, cancel all combat effects on your opponent's cards. John Henry covers 3 health and draw 1 card. And then John Henry cannot take more than 2 combat damage this combat. This is very, very unique on all these. Yeah, like I'm trying to think through like how you'd play these, like how they differ. This is all very interesting stuff. Very, very new types of way to play, and yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by this release. There's clearly a lot of new rules. There's stuff with the George Washington one that seems really interesting. The Rosie the Riveter seems really, really interesting. So I think this book's going to get really, really important. So you can get yours. We got links underneath this video. They're most likely affiliate links, so you get a small percentage. This game's for 9 and up, 2 to 4 players, 20 to 40 minutes to play. Yeah, you can go get it. I highly recommend it. I love Unmatched. It's one of my favorite games out there, and got everything. So, as always, much appreciated. Thank you for watching. If you want the latest game news, check us out at BoardGameToday.com. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, all at Board Game Today, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep rolling that dice, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching Board Game Today. We always appreciate your views and your support, but there are so many ways for you to support our site. Not only can you do right here on video, but you can go and check us out at BoardGameToday.com, where we have more news, reviews, interviews, everything you could ever want. But since you're here, if you could, you can always give us a like, subscribe, or share our videos, or watch something else. As always, much appreciated, and get your game on.